are back on Boond ttalk, Train of Thought, with a series of an episode with the experts from the industry who come and share their experience so that the target audience can draw meaningful learning. They are the various experts from leadership, from women empowerment, from sports, from marketing, finance, from advertisement, and various walks of our life. The experts come and share their experience. And today, more or less, we'll be talking in terms of an women empowerment. When we talk in terms of women empowerment, like 50% of the working women, they drop out of an workforce in 3 years because of a reallocation of marriage, motherhood, elderly care, and the health. But what was the fire in their bellies to prove themselves again? The world today is witnessing economic integration, and India is not an exception to the general trend, a so-called a global village. Women world over are increasingly becoming the driving force of many economics, including India. Here is an inspiring life journey of Mrs. Preeti Sharma. She is from conservative Sikh family. Ma'am, welcome to this show of ttalk Boond Soch ki.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chima. It's such a pleasure to come here and be part of your ttalk journey, and I'm totally honored, by being present here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for spending a valuable time. A brief introduction. She is an executive director with Pragati Software Private Limited and managing director of Letter Print Publication Private Limited. And in fact, they are the various professional and the career aspirations of the women which are there. I'm sure listening to a story from being a conservative Sikh family at the top of a pyramid where a couple of businesses she is handling on her own, that is Pragati Software Private Limited and Letter Print Publication Private Limited. I'm sure through her story, many of the women who would like to be aspire like her in the near future will get a lot of an inspiration from her story. Ma'am, welcome once again to this show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
now,
so
ma'am,
much.
for benefit of a target audience, many a times at certain age, they are derailed to a certain extent. They are not clear about the career path which is there. So now, in your case, when we talk in terms of we are the product of a value system of a culture that defines us. So can you share your journey with a target audience right from childhood till the education?
Yes. So I started, I'm born in a Sikh family, and I was very blessed to have a mother who is a teacher in Godrej school. So I stayed in the Godrej colony, and that I think defined me a lot. One is the value system of the religion, that is Sikhism. What is the value system of the Godrej family and the school Udayachal, which is a very well-known school. That defined how I thought. So when I was very young, I kind of found there was some bit of discrimination between the girl child and the male child. And I realized, I used to always wonder, why is it that my brothers get more, respect than me? And I decided, no, I'm going to make it an equal journey for me. And I said, I will not think just like a woman, but or like a girl. When I was a very small girl, I will think like a human being. And that thought that I'm always going to be equal and I'm always going to think of myself as a person rather than a woman, that has always been my thought from the beginning. Now, one thought which I wanted to also, which really made a lot of difference to my life, was when we were young, all of us came from, or many of us came from very poor families. So I remember I used to just have one dress apart from the uniform which I would wear, and I would wash it in the night and wait for it to dry and wear it on the next day. So there was a lot of value to money, to saving money, to earning money, and to being comfortable, and to some extent to becoming wealthy. That was one very important path for me. The other path which I found was very important is the path for me as a girl child or as a woman, as a lady, to become independent. So I was always thinking, no, I don't want to be known as, so-and-so's daughter or so-and-so's sister or so-and-so's elder sister, younger sister, whatever. I always thought I have to stand on my own 2 feet. And that thought, I was very young when I made up my mind that if I have to stand on my feet and if I have to be comfortable from a money perspective, then I have to study. That was very clear in my mind, that education is the only way for me to reach somewhere. And so always I was a very studious child. I kept on studying pretty well. I got good marks in 10th standard. I was first in the school in maths, etc. And then I decided to join a very good reputed college, Podar, because thanks to my good marks in 10th standard, I got admission in RA Podar College, which is the leading college in commerce in Mumbai. And those 5 years at Podar also were wonderful because, you know, these good institutes now, they are not only good because they have wonderful teachers, they're also good because you have wonderful colleagues. So I remember in the 80s when I was in Podar, every second student would either be learning CA or ICWA or CS or law. And you know, you had this whole thing going ke nahi kuch karna hai jeevan ka, you know, I have to do something. So when I thought, can I do CA, can I do ICWA, I realized maybe I'm not very much suited for extra studies or major studies or advanced studies in accountancy, but I got interested more because I got a Dorab Tata scholarship in the 12th standard. I was awarded by Dorab Tata to get a scholarship, the Dorab Tata scholarship, and that also defined me. So I'm the first or the second MBA from Podar College. MBA was not something which students in Podar would do because it is a commerce college. So I was one of the early MBAs who said, okay, I will make something out of my life, but I will not do the regular path. I will find a different path. So I then got admission into MBA. I did my MBA, that is the MMS program from the Chetna College, R.K. Khandelwal Chetna's Institute of Management, situated at Bandra East. So about MBA also, I remember those years, the parents were never comfortable that you go and study outside your city. So I could not apply to IIMs or I couldn't apply to those colleges which were outside Mumbai. So I said, okay, let me make the best of my opportunities in Mumbai. So as soon as I finished my BCom, I got and did my MMS. And then the question was, during the MMS program, the question was, should I do marketing? Should I do finance? Should I do HR or should I do operations? So that was again a big question. And I said finance. Well, as you know, I mentioned that being BCom, I realized I don't have a bent of mind so much for accountancy. So finance was not appealing to me at that point of time. And marketing seemed like a very good option because I get along well with people. I enjoy interacting with people. I've always been comfortable sharing my views with people, understanding people. So marketing was something which resonated, and then I had to go back again to my family and say, look, I'm going to do sales and marketing, and that means I'm going to travel, and that means I'm going to be away from home for days, and that means I'm going to be, you know, talking to more and more people, being in the markets. So I had to convince my parents all over again to tell them, okay, now I'm doing MBA, but in that also I'm going to do marketing.
Correct.
So that was another round of convincing them. So I did my marketing, I passed out, and I got my first job in HCL.
Before that, I think in 80s, I think it's the information which was there was very limited. Like today on Google, you can get any kind of informations you want, and you know about the career path which are there. There are the various counselors which are around, various coaching classes which are there. In 80s, I think that sort of things were not there. So then what inspired you to be more focused in your studies and you wanted to do BCom only and then get into an MMS? So how you got an inspiration from?
Yeah, so I think you're totally right. Those years we didn't have any access to all the Google etc. We didn't have much access to books also. I think I was very clear that जीवन में ना I have to succeed. I think that thought, I have to be successful and I have to stand on my 2 feet. I have to have enough money to be comfortable. These were the 3-4 thoughts which kept on being the cornerstone of my, my North Star for any decision when I was young. So I think I was a person who would go and ask questions. So even if I didn't have knowledge, and my parents came from the partition, so my parents are not that much educated. So for me, the Podar college itself, the environment in Podar, the professors I met, the colleagues I met, I would constantly ask questions. Can I do this? What is MBA? How do you get into MBA? I would go out and reach out to people. I would always be ready to catch an opportunity, meet a person, and get the information. So when I got the Dorab Tata scholarship, I would go to Bombay House. I would talk to them and ask them, what can I do? So I think that whole passion, I have to succeed at all costs or against all odds. That was always the tape, playing in my mind. And
but one more thing, like many a times at that particular period, like Karnataka, koi na koi inspiration, somebody might have an impact on you, like, oh no, this is a successful person, I would like to be like him or her, or some inspiration from where you got that, like, to be more focused.
Yeah. So I think I was inspired by many people, but the cornerstone of my life was my mother. So my mother has been teaching in the Godrej school from the time, in the 1955 she joined. So there again she was a working person. Again she comes from a conservative Sikh family, and she was my guiding principle. For anything, my mother was the one who was always encouraging, and always she was my role model. There were many role models, but the common thread in that entire journey of my life till a particular age has been my mother. And even today, it's the inspiration I get from her. Because in her times, it would have been much more difficult than what it was for me. Correct. And yet she persisted and she remained true to her path. So for me, it was my mother.
Good. I think the parents are watching this Talk and listening to Mrs. Preeti Sharma. She is an executive director with Pragati Software Private Limited and also managing director with Letter Print Publication Private Limited. From a conservative Sikh family to owning the two business, I'm sure there are great learning and the insights what we're getting from a story. Like many a time it is said, like behind every successful woman is herself, not a man. Like so, behind every successful woman is herself. Like if you understand, if you get intuition, and if you're very focused and clear as far as the career path which is concerned, I'm sure you can see the transformation in your life. I'm sure it's an exciting insights and the exclusive story of Mrs. Preeti Sharma on this Talk Ek Boond Soch Ki, which we are having conversation with her. If you like this episode, go to www.ttalk.net, subscribe and like the channel as much as you can. Do catch up with Mrs. Preeti Sharma on our next show of Talk Ek Boond Soch Ki. Ma'am, thanks a lot for being part of this show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.